In order to make sure that information about a topic has gone into your long-term memory, it's really important to do regular revision. One really great method for doing your revision is an argument card sort revision activity. As it happens, lots of the subjects that we study in EPR can be broken up into arguments for and against. So, step 1 is to choose your topic. This could be animal rights, the existence of God, is God the God of classical theism? It could be crime and punishment, looking at arguments for and against the death penalty, or it could even be Christian belief, looking at arguments for and against infant and adult baptism. Once you've selected your topic, find 3 arguments for and against. This can be done by using the Faith in 5 videos, by using your revision guides, by using your exercise books, or any notes that you have made. Next, you need to create 6 cards. Now you can do this very easily by folding and cutting a piece of card or paper. Alternatively, you can buy pre-made revision cards, but it's just as easy to make your own. It's really important to remember that you should not colour code for this activity, as it will undermine the task that you're going to do. The next step is that you should muddle up your cards and start your timer. Now, your timer could be a phone timer, a clock, or a watch. Step 5 is that you should practice sorting the arguments into the correct sides throughout the week. It's a good idea to take breaks between doing this activity, because it will cause your brain to work that little bit harder. Throughout the week, you should keep track of your times to see and monitor your improvement. As an extra challenge, you should mix up arguments from different topics. This means that you'll have to sort them into the correct topics before you can sort them into for and against arguments. This is particularly helpful if you are doing the GCSE exam, as lots of different topics will come up in a single exam paper. So I'm going to walk you through visually step by step. The first thing that you're going to do is you're going to get your card or your paper and you're going to create 6 separate cards. Next, you will choose your topic. For this example, I've chosen the causation argument for the existence of God. And again, remember, you could use arguments for infant versus adult baptism, arguments for and against the Eucharist transubstantiating, or arguments for and against animal testing. It doesn't matter. You then need to write your 3 arguments for and 3 arguments against on your cards. For the next step, you'll have muddled up your cards and you will have your phone timer, your watch or the clock ready. The moment you hit start on that timer is the moment that you need to start sorting these cards into for and against arguments. So I'm going to do that now. So I'm looking at the causation argument for the existence of God. My statement is that God exists because he created the world. And my first card says to assume that God is the cause of the earth is a categorical leap because it could be a pantheon of gods. So that's against. I'm going to put that here. This next one says everything needs a cause, so the earth needs a cause. Only God could have caused it because he is omnipotent. Well, that means that God does exist. This next one says the Bible says in Genesis, God created the world in 7 days, so he clearly caused the world. So that's going to go here. This next card says, if you say everything needs a cause, then God needs a cause ad infinitum. This is illogical, so you have to abandon the argument. So that's going to be an against one. Next, the chance of a tornado blowing through a junkyard and making a functioning plane is 0%. So the world couldn't be the product of chance, so it must be the work of God. And then I've got here, a wise man bases his belief on the evidence. Scientific evidence suggests it was the Big Bang, not God, due to background radiation, so that means that God did not cause the world. I would then look at my timer, I would muddle up my cards, and I would repeat the activity a couple of times. I'd then store them, move them to the side, keep a record of the time that I got, and come back and do the activity again in a couple of days. Okay, so I'm going to do another worked example, but this time I'm going to look at the topic of animal testing. So I've already done my 6 cards, I've cut them out and I've put my arguments for and against animal testing on them. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to muddle them up and I'm going to sort them into the correct sides. So my statement is that we should test on animals, and I'm going to give my arguments for or against. So I'm going to start the timer and I'm going to read my first card. Animal testing is pointless as they are different to us. We can only tell if a cure will work if it has been tested on humans. So that's against animal testing. Humans have dominion over the earth, as the Bible says, let them rule. This means God has allowed us to use animals as we wish. Well, that's definitely for. Animals cannot consent, so they cannot give permission, so it's wrong to test on them. So that's going to go against. We shouldn't test on animals. This next card here says, animals are not really sentient and don't feel pain in the same way that we do. This means it's fine to experiment and test on them. So that clearly means that we should test on animals. This next one here says, animals are sentient, they can think, feel and reason. To treat them as less than that is speciesism. So that's going to go into we should not test on animals, meaning that this last one, animal testing helps us find cures and diseases which both humans and animals will benefit from. That's going to go into for animal testing. Once you've created your revision resources for the topic that you are presently revising, it's really important that you store and label those resources, because later on they could come in really handy for you, because everything that we learn in the EPR curriculum is sequential, which means that each topic builds on the one before. So it's well worth your time making a fantastic revision resource, which itself is good revision, regularly using it, and storing it and keeping it safe for further revision in the future.